Welcome, welcome, welcome to another day of Perspective Voices. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Lambert Watkins.
And I am your co-host, Tanya Lambert Watkins, Esquire.
Today we have two wonderful guests with us. We have Terrell Britnam and we have Dr. Wanda Thomas. And they're coming together today to share with us their perspective on what I'm going to call being into the life. Am I correct with that, Terrell?
I guess you can say that. I mean, we all are trying to get there. So I guess that's the correct language to be in.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wanda Thomas. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves, give us their bios, and then we'll go from there. Wanda?
Okay, so I'm hoping I'm not frozen, so I'm hoping this is going okay. In any event, I'm Dr. Wanda Thomas. I am a licensed officiant, a certified chaplain, and ordained minister, and I take great pride in that. Out of the many hats that I wear, that is my joy, mainly over all things. Pretty much I'm going to leave it at that. I got a long list and I'm not even going to go through all of that. I'm just happy to be on this platform with Dr. Michelle Watkins and what the Lord is getting ready to do on this platform.
I think we're going in and out with Miss Wanda, with Dr. Thomas.
Okay, so let me see something else.
It's all right. While you're
troubleshooting,
we'll go to
let me yes, go ahead. Let me join the meeting.
Terrell, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Terrell Britnam. I have been in the music industry for over 20 years. I started out as a singing talent with my identical twin brother, who may join us briefly in a second. We started out as a singing group together. From there, we went on to do reality TV show competitions. And from there, the sky was the limit. We started our own independent practice for inspiring artists, independent artists who were looking to further their career. I mean, really real career, and finding executives and songwriters, producers that could help aid them in their talent search. Developing artists as well has been our strong suit for over 7 years now. So I'm coming from a background of entertainment. I'm also coming from a background that really has an emphasis on youth, because that's all I've worked with in this music industry, a portion journey of my life. So I come from a background that I'm more youth influenced. I stumble and pick myself up just like everyone else when it comes to grasping the information that we need for youth enhancement, education. Yes. So, I'm trying to get myself together so I can be a spokesperson in my new journey, because I'm about to end one journey in music and go into the next ministry. So I'm happy to be making this transition into more of God's work, because I really think that that's the mission. I think that's the mission for everyone. And me putting my musical journey to the side to be more of a strength for the purpose of God and what he wants to unleash on this earth in this present time is where I am engaging on in the new journey. So that's just a little bit of dialogue about who I am, where I come from, and where I'm going.
Oh, wonderful. Wow. Wonderful. Actually, Wanda comes from the entertainment background as well.
Oh, wow.
Wanda, are we clear on
I am working diligently trying to pull it up.
But we can hear you, and
we can hear you well.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Even if you don't see me, okay. I'm
No,
just
we
trying.
see you.
We see you.
Oh, okay. Because
You fixed it.
Terrell, your bio and your background was amazing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Yes. So I was so busy troubleshooting. What was your question, Michelle?
I was saying that Terrell was telling us about the entertainment industry, and I was saying that you also have dabbled in the entertainment industry.
I dibbled in some of everything. How far
Right.
you have expanded.
Creative to creative. I got it.
Yeah, you have expanded and superseded probably way further than I did. But whatever I would put my hands on, I would work diligently and was very persistent in making it happen. And I may have not gotten the results that I was looking for at that time, but nevertheless, it's
You gained the experience.
I still got the experience and the understanding.
Yes,
And
that's most important.
God used me and moved me. What happened was, as I was persistently seeking those avenues, God actually used all of those attributes and characteristics for who I am today. And
that's exactly what I'm experiencing right now.
And I'm so excited what God is doing in all of our lives.
I am too as well.
Yeah. Yep. So, amen.
Amen. So tell us a little bit about the program, Terrell, that you are interested in with the youth.
Well, youth advocate is where I'm going. I think the youth don't have, I'm not going to say role model, because at this point in time, the role model syndrome has sort of been depleted. So I'm going to say counselors or ministers who cater to them right where they are. And my focus is definitely on youth in the ages of anywhere from 10 to 35, 36, maybe 40, because I'm a late bloomer myself. I didn't get all of the information that I needed till I was in my 33 mark. So, my awakening mark. So, that's why I just stretched it a little past that, because I truly believe we're all still growing. We're all still learning. You never really get enough information, but my emphasis is on youth, and with I guess a little different curtail, because I have a little bit more passion for maybe the youth that are dealing in homosexuality, because they have no voice, nowhere around. And I think with the experience that I've gained in that field and in that journey in my life, I believe be more of an advocate or more of a person that can really talk from the platform, especially from a Black standpoint. Because I truly believe the LGBT community, which is a great platform, and it helps a lot when it comes to the education, but just not in our community. So I'm little curtailing my where I want to be. My mission is to help young men and women that are battling with that, since the programming is such in large demand.
Yes.
Amen. And it's so funny. You can tell our different ages or generation, because you guys like LGB, it was like in the life. Period. We didn't have no label. We didn't have all of the colors in the life. And we called it.
That's a fact.
Now,
that is a fact. There was no lettering.
Awesome. That's awesome, because they do need direction.
Yes.
It's not about what you're doing. It's about your character.
Yeah,
and
it's the mental.
Right? Yes, it's a mental. And when they have that right mental and the right people guiding them, they're going to be the best men and women they can possibly be. And they have a better understanding. The life or the LGB doesn't make them. That's not who they are.
That's not who they are.
That's not who they are.
Absolutely.
I'm the young man, I'm the young woman. What they're going through right now, the experience is exactly, that's what it is, because it's a psychological thing and we just didn't understand it. And that takes me to my direction, where I promise you, you can tell me about no man. Ooh, just the thought of it, like, oh God, I gotta, Lord, if I come into you, I gotta I got to wash. All I saw, I got to wash his dirty underwear. I got to cook for him. I don't even cook for
Right.
myself. So I could not fathom. I could not fathom those kind of behavior. I was spoiled because the women I dealt with, they all catered and dealt and catered to me. I mean, in that way, and we've all helped one another, you know. So I just couldn't fathom. Oh God, Lord, this is gonna be rough. This is, oh God. I mean, I went through it before I did my transition,
Mhm.
and my transition happened when I was in Georgia. It just happened out of nowhere. I didn't even know what hit me. It hit me when I didn't even know it hit me.
Right.
But
This place,
when I
Georgia, has a very strong
that.
power in that regards, especially when you know that it's almost like a portal opens up here in Georgia, because there's such the matriarch of it, if you know, and I think most of our major cities, before it was Atlanta, it was DC. It just carried that vibe. You can just go and explore and be free. I found my freedom as well in Georgia. You know, Southern boy from Memphis, Tennessee, wrapped up in the Bible Belt, wrapped up in what their belief system of religion was all about at the time. Me coming up in that religious structure. When I got to Atlanta, I found freedom. You know, I found where I could be self-expressed because the city didn't beat you up for or didn't cast major judgment for your lifestyle and your lifestyle choices. So Atlanta was probably one of my eye-opener. It brought it out, you know what I mean, from out of nowhere, like you said, as well. I guess when you are a youth and you've been told so many times that you're ugly, or you're not attractive, and you get to a place or a city where everyone is telling you, especially all the men are telling you, you look amazing, you're attractive, I think you're this and I think you're that. It just opens up this portal inside, and you fall directly into what I call Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland in the mental when it comes to that, really carried away. But I agree with you. Atlanta was probably the opening for me as well.
Well, when I say Atlanta, that's where I got my closure.
Oh,
because I come from the
got it.
I got my closure. I had to me and Michelle go back at 18 years old. We got over 40 years of friendship here. So I was in Georgia, and I was staying with her, and that's where, look, I'm not waking Michelle up saying, can you take me here? Can you do that? So I had to get up and walk down the road to the bus, and hour to the bus, another hour on the bus, another hour to the bus stop. So there I had the time to walk, talk to God, like, what am I doing, Lord? What is going on? So just something had opened up. That's where I got my, I don't know, probably where I got my intimacy, where I was just walking, talking with God, walking through the snow, walking through the rain, just what is going on? And one night I can remember coming home, and I'm flipping the TV and I'm looking at Teddy Diggs, and I'm looking at these guys. I'm like, oh God, he looks good. And now I don't realize what I'm saying right now. I'm just flipping the TV saying, oh God. I didn't care if he was a midget. I didn't care if he had red hair. I don't care if he was blue. I just kept saying, oh, he looks good. He looks good, And then I stopped and said, wait a minute, what? Wait, and I'm flipping the TV and I'm trying to find my favorite female that I had a fantasy for or whatever. And it was like something shut down. I could not, for the life of me, figure out what just happened. And I came home, remember, Mitch? I came home and said, you came home, and I said, Mitch, what did I say? I said, I'm redeemed or something. I said, and you said,
something happened. You said something happened.
Right. And that's all she wrote. And from there was another thing. And then she told me prior to that, she woke up saying, Wanda, did you come in my room with a crown on? What was that?
A beauty queen.
And I said, you were dreaming. I said, you were dreaming. And it all just unfolded. Her dream came to true. And I promise you, from that point on, when I left Atlanta, I came home and all I wanted to wear was skirts and heels.
Just to interject, Wanda and I grew up in New York and New Jersey. So Wanda's opening for her into the life was in New York. That was where she found her freedom, and she walked around and, you know, went to the gay parades and things of that nature, and did her thing,
right.
you know, and so forth. We have been friends, like she said, since we were 18 years old, for years. So I moved down to Georgia, and then she came down. This is years later. Now we're talking about in our 40s at that time. And it's amazing that when God begins to move in a thing, you know, you never know how he's going to transition you, what's going to happen. He just moves. So her transition became one of those movements. When she came down to Georgia, and she was still pretty much in the life. But like she said, as she was walking and talking to the Lord and stuff, she doesn't even know when the transition took place. And then I'm a dreamer. So I see God gives me visions and dreams and things of that nature. And it was crazy because I had a dream of her in a picture as a beauty queen. Now, back then, Wanda didn't wear skirts and dresses. She was more in, what's that, butch, I guess? I don't know.
She was leaning in her masculine energy more.
Yeah, love the way you said that. Yes.
I wouldn't been called back then the femme butch. Back then, I don't know what you guys do now.
Femme butch is good. Butch. Yeah.
I still knew I was a woman, but my outfit was unisex and just aggressive, and I like to keep myself nice and fit and so on and stuff. I didn't really go and buy the men's shoes and the men's shirts and ties.
I got you.
I didn't do all of that.
Gotcha.
I knew who I was because, excuse my French, I still had my monthly. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
I knew I was still woman, but the
absolutely
I were very beautiful and very feminine. I ain't want nothing that was close to my aggressiveness, because then that's
absolutely. Gotcha.
So when it hit her, she, like she said, she didn't know what happened. She just know all of a sudden she was attracted to men. She was looking at men and saying, "Dag, he's fine. Dag, he's cute." And she had not done that in years. So that's when she knew something inside of her was changing. And when she saw a woman, she no longer had that feeling.
It's literally like a piece of my brain was taken out, period.
You know, I can definitely understand that. That isn't what quite that isn't what how it happened for me. My page didn't turn like that. I think that I just did an evaluation of my childhood, and I tried to go back because I clearly remember me having a energy for young ladies. I think I lost that when I traveled with my mom, and she used to go and beat up my father's girlfriends and mistresses. And she used to take me and my brother along in the car with her. So as I see her fight, and I see her cry, and I see her fight, and I see her cry so many times, the women which we should love and we should cherish portion of me, I sort of died with my mom's hurt for what my father was doing. So when I looked at a woman, I didn't see the beauty anymore. I just saw the hurt and pain that went through with my mom. So for that was my cutoff. I sort of cut off the feelings that I had initially had and sort of took the mindset and the placement of my mom, which made women not be attractive to me, you know, because they hurt my mom. So I carried that for many years. And since I can say me and my brother, since we were up under her a lot with no male influences, we picked up these tendencies, feminine tendencies, and, you know, going to school that made fun of you. And then, you know, being, I guess the word I'm looking for, what's the word? Being chastised as a child through my father only stemmed more of the hurt. So my thing now was that, they were calling us gay. So, I was a very avid churchgoer. So I looked for that. What was that? Since, no one would sit down and explain to, in my timeline, what that was, or what am I going through in my mental. So in my childhood, I sort of carried that all the way up into my adulthood, that women were just not good for you. They hurt you, with that perception in my mind. So from that, it was just strictly, I was just into men because that was, I guess that felt better. That felt, like that should be the right thing, because so many people was calling us that. So we just found out what that was and made our choices, similar to what's going on today with our youth today. We're just looking at it for what it is, not really having an internalized questions or getting answers. So I went from there to when I turned 33 years old, I was living in Los Angeles, California. And, I had been through so many bad dealings and not being able to find love and, not being cute enough and not being handsome enough. I just said, well, that's 30 something years of going through the same thing. Why not try something different? Why let's just try and open up to a young lady and see if that could space be filled, or could I feel something again? And I did. So that opened me up to, I guess allowing myself to surrender what I had been doing for so long and open up myself to something new that I had never given an opportunity to try and experience. So after doing that, I realized that there's a choice that I can make. And now I can make a real educational choice, because I don't really have any bad feelings or bad downloads of dating women. I only have a very large amount of times where I tried to date a man and it just didn't go right. So my elimination was just, I can put that down for some time and honestly give myself an opportunity to try and see what the female persuasion or the female love could do for me. And I found some alarming things. That's why I have sort of put my stake in my mark in educating the young about allowing the choice and allowing yourself to go back to your childhood and sort of fix those things, fix those dark moments, those black moments, and see if you can come out on top, where it changes the dynamic, it changes the course, and change your DNA of what you feel things are. Yes. And what it is. So, that's what happened for me. My transition happened because I was willing to sort of do the odds on which one worked better for me. And I didn't have anything I could pair the relationships of women to. So I just gave it an opportunity and just shot for it. And that's where mine came from as well.
So Terrell,
go ahead. No,
I thought it interesting when you said you went back to your childhood.
I did too.
And part of it, you looked at the pain from your mother.
Yeah.
But when in fact, it was your father that was inflicting pain.
Absolutely.
But instead, you attributed that pain to your mother inflicting the pain.
Basically, because, my idea for women wouldn't have changed had I not seen lots of her disgust and her hurt when it comes to my father cheating. Now, don't get me wrong, my father had his own thing that contributed to my choices as well. I just didn't get deep into that. But I want to introduce this to you as well. My father knew very well what was going on with us because he had his own issues and experiences in the matter. Mm-hmm. So he never said anything. So vicariously, he is giving or transmitting through his DNA what he has, what he's been doing. And that fall, I remember the Bible speaks on the sins
Come
of the father
on.
falls on the children. I never really
Yes.
understood what that means, but when you decode
Okay.
that thing, you really are saying that what the DNA in your mother and father, their memories, their things, their secrets, their everything that
Yes.
distracted them distracts you. So that comes down the pipeline to the child. So on my
Yes.
father's end, the voices or what I heard in my ear that was swaying me to look in that direction comes from the gut because it's a part of who I am. My dad
Okay.
transferred that into me. So the hurt of my mother and the non-telling or not holding the secrets that my father was holding inside of him transferred into me. So you got the dislike for women from my mother's side, and you got an inward thing, something that I can't explain thing going on inside of my body that was given to me by my father, the DNA. So the DNA, which would be the voice inside of my head, and my mother's pain forged something inside of me that had a disgust for
Jesus.
women.
Okay.
So it teetered for many years until I could go back go back to the past, because no one taught us that as children, that we have the ability to go to the past,
Go back to the
to
beginning.
recreate and recorrect and re-examine those things that may have harmed us. I found out in my past that molestation was there. Those are things that I blocked out. I just forgot about until I started experimenting and I started to open up.
All of my questions I was going to come, because Tanya had piggybacked off of it first. And I was listening to you saying, oh, my mother and her pain with women. And I'm just sitting back and I'm listening, because from my experience, I promise you, 99.9% of anyone that's in this lifestyle outside of like you said, which was so profound with dad's DNA, but he also had his experience. That's like when you're laying around with folks, people don't understand those and stuff. You laying with today and Bill today and Mary today and so, and then now you come lay with me, and then you don't understand why you're running around acting crazy, because you're all of
That's right. That's right.
So that's why the Bible talks about us being careful and have one mate. It's not that God don't want us to have fun. He created sex. He wants us to have all the sex and all of the joy we want, but with one person. Not with Mary Blue Sue, because now we run around slashing tires and shooting people because we're crazy. We done picked up all these folks' crazy DNA.
That's a fact. That's
why. So God is not trying to keep us from enjoying sex, because it's a beautiful thing. He created
right.
Good and evil. But I just wanted to piggyback off of that. But I wanted to go back to when you were saying, with you associated the pain with your mom. You were saying where you got, how this all fell into play for you. For me, I don't associate anyone with it, but from it happened. I had a good.
Let me interject just for 1 minute, just to say that the point that Terrell tapped into that I think a lot of us miss is the DNA factor. The DNA factor is not even something that you pick up from having sex with other people. It is passed through your bloodline.
Absolutely,
that is absolutely a gene that comes down. So you don't even have to know the secret. If your daddy was a liar, you don't know why you lying, but you just lying. It's a DNA factor that's passed through to you. And he's saying that he developed and realized or uncovered his father's secrets, not because his father told him, but it came through his DNA. And he realized later on, wow, the very thing I'm struggling with is what he was dealing with.
He was dealing with, absolutely.
Exactly, what your father was dealing with. I love that part. And I love the part that you said that we don't go back enough to look at, we want to forget the past. And forget the past is okay, we need to, but sometimes we need to go back to the past through energy healing, through energetic fields, and just make sure that we close some doors that were open, close them, and then move forward.
what I realized, Pastor, Mrs. Wanda, is that the healing can't begin. It's almost like you're not putting any antiseptic on the wound. You're not treating the wound at all. What you're doing is you're putting that nice Band-Aid over the wound and just allowing the wound to possibly try and heal on its own. And some of us are not strong enough to do that. So just take, it took me 30, maybe 36 years of my life. I'm 44 years old now. 36 years of my life was actually trying to go back and re-diagnose all of the problems so that I could make a conscious decision in my adult life if that's what I am and that's who I am. And don't get me wrong, you got 25 of those years where the entertainment business, the world has now picked up a frequency not only to try and stop us from creating children, the world, not just, but in our community especially, because you don't see as many Black-owned, black relationships, Black kissing on commercials, now Disney is starting to put Black images for homosexuality in their new Pixar movie, Green Lighter, or whatever the name is. It's a controversy going on about that. So in